good. They'll be here. I know from experience that if the Shia starts on time, people will be here on time. If they see that it starts late, they'll be here late. That's how the world goes. The best way, to get the minion going is to start on time. If you push it off all the time, then people come late, then people get frustrated. There are always some people come on time and it never starts on time and they go somewhere else. But it's different, people just adapt that he doesn't come here quarter to. He comes a little bit late, and so everybody's a little bit late.
It's more of an issue that he ends late than starting late.
What?
It's more of an issue that he ends late. So
Well, he got much better with that.
Yeah, because of this clock over here.
He got much more careful when it's ending on time.
In the past, the clock goes behind him. But now it's like staring him right in the face.
But still, it's a tremendous thing,
Huh?
It's a tremendous thing this year.
Of course. People don't want to leave, It's like,
Yeah.
who wants to go start their day when they have such an opportunity over here? It's like Gan Eden on earth.
week, right?
Daf Pei Vav. Ksuvas Pei Vav. Ksuvas Daf Pei Vav. It says we must just look over now. Issa. Amar Meimar. Mitzvah. Venia his
Too strong. Tell me I'll redo it.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, Perek Beis. Thank you, thank you. Look at the Torah, the Maimah Mizmor Shir, Chanukah Sabayis LaDavid, Daf Tzadik Tes. It's the second column. Perek Beis, chapter 2. Page 197, or Tzadik Tes, column 2. V'chein yesh gimel b'chinas haniskaris la'el b'teiro mitzvahs. The same three relationships or three dimensions discussed above exist also in Torah and mitzvahs. Meaning in Yiddishkeit. Kenoida, as it's known, Doiraisa hibchidas mazon l'neshama. It's known that Torah is defined as mazon, food for the soul. There's an expression in Tehillim, v'soiroscha b'soich meyai. Your Torah is inside my womb, my meyai, my meyayim, my intestines, my abdomen. So, at the surface, just a euphemism, but the euphemism is very precise. It's not just a melitza, it's not just, an illustration, external illustration, but it's a very precise one. That Torah is considered mazon, it's food for the soul. Just like there's the food for the body, there's also food for the soul. Mitzvahs heim levushim l'neshama. Mitzvahs are characterized as garments of the soul. So this concept that we had in the body, the difference of food and clothes, discussed in chapter 1 of the Maimer, exists also on a soul level. Torah is the food. You have in Mishlei, Torah is considered also bread. Calls Torah bread, l'chu lachmu, belachmi, you should join your bread, eat your bread with my bread. That's the expression in Mishlei, referring to Torah as lechem, as bread, which is mazon. And mitzvahs are called a levushei haneshama. He brings in the brackets other Maimarim that discussed this more at length, discussed this as well. V'hinei av shalamata b'hishtalshalos ha-mitzvahs hem b'madrega yoser tachtoina meha-Torah. Even though the way it comes down here in this world, what we call an ishtalshalos, the way the divine energy or consciousness evolves all the way down here to this world. Generally, we see Torah as higher than mitzvahs. Mitzvahs are in a lower madrega of Torah. Shehem b'maisa gashmis. It's expressed in the fact that mitzvahs relate usually to physical action. The Mishnah says in Maseches Peah, we say it in the morning, v'talmud Torah keneged kulam, that the mitzvah of Torah has something that is unique, transcending all the other mitzvahs. Because the way the divine energy comes down here, what he calls nishtalshalos, the system of ishtalshalos, the system of the evolution of the divine energy, Torah is higher than mitzvahs. Mitzvahs relate to ma'aseh gashmis, to physical actions, to the material. Torah is a much more internal, cerebral, intellectual, spiritual experience. Mitzvahs are more focused on technical actions in the physical world. That's on one level, and that's true.
Because it says Sama Torah connected kulam, so it's sort of, it puts that one against that one. It makes them all equal, sort of, equally great.
Yeah, but we'll see. There's another side too. That's just it. Afal Pikein, on the other, despite this, on Urayim, we observe shegvayim hem yoseh b'sharsha. He says on Urayim, we see an interesting expression. Who sees? He says we see that mitzvahs are gvayim hem yoseh b'sharsha. We see, b'pashtas, it means from all the Maimarei Chazal and Sfarim, you could see that mitzvahs in their root are even higher than Torah. Vasapes v'lachein. Where do you see this? Kol ha-Torah hi pirush ha-mitzvahs. Essentially, all of Torah, whatever you're learning, it's a commentary on mitzvahs. Whether it's hein ben nigla, whether it's nigla, the nigla of the mitzvahs, meaning the revealed dimension of the mitzvahs, or hein ben nister, or the esoteric, the concealed explanation of the mitzvahs. K'may, for example, Sefer HaZoyar. For the first, he doesn't have to give an example because it's literally the whole Torah. In other words, you're learning Masechta Brachas, you're learning Masechta Shabbos, you're learning Erevin, Pesachim, Shkalim, Baba Kama, Baba Basra, Pchayres, whatever you're learning. Essentially, what is the whole Torah doing? It's explaining, elucidating, elaborating, detailing the mitzvahs. That's what it does. We're learning on Masechta Pesachim. The first Mishnah, what's the first Mishnah? The first Mishnah explains what the Chachamim did in order to ensure that on Pesach you don't have chametz. Right? And they'll explain the reasons and what to do and the practicalities and the mechanisms and how to avoid it and what happens if there's a mistake. Either it explains the details of a mitzvah, or it explains the reasons of the mitzvah, or it explains different aspects connected to the mitzvah. That's the whole Torah, basically, that you learn. Some Svarim explain the mitzvah in nigla, meaning the practical mitzvah in a revealed way, whatever that mitzvah is. Yeah. The first Mishnah in Brachas discusses the mitzvah of saying Kriya Shema at night. The next Mishnah discusses the mitzvah of Kriya Shema in the morning. That's the Mishnah. You learn the Gemara, it's just an elaboration of that. Why he said it this way, how do you explain it, what is the meaning of this and this detail? Then you have Zoyar. He says, what's Zoyar? Zoyar also explains all the mitzvahs. Zoyar goes through the parshas. But over there, it's the mitzvah of Nister, the mitzvah the way it is in Nister. V'chein Amar Razal, the Gemara says, in Masechta Kiddushin, Gadol Talmud Shemei V'lidei Maisa. The Gemara brings a machlokes over there, Masechta Kiddushin, that for a few years they argued what's greater, Talmud Gadol or Maisa Gadol. Is learning greater or deed is greater? Nimnu v'gamru, at the end they took a vote that Talmud Gadol. Why? Shah Talmud mevi lidei Maisa. That's the expression in the Gemara. Because Talmud brings to Maisa. And I think Rashi has an expression that v'nimtza shneim biyadeh. So when you have when you have Talmud, it's going to bring l'dei Maisa. So in Mela, you'll have ultimately both. Here the Balatanya seems to say that the Gemara is Kedushin Daf Mem, yeah. Kedushin Daf Mem Amid Beis. In the back they have the Mara Mekaymas. So over there, Nimnu v'gamru Talmud Gadol, Sha Talmud Mevi l'dei Maisa. The Talmud brings l'dei Maisa. That's the mile of the Talmud. He could have said Talmud Gadol because Talmud is Gadol, because learning is greater. So the reason learning is greater is because it brings to action. V'chein, the Mishnah says in Pirkei Avos, the first Perek, Loi ha-midrash iker ela ha-maisa. The learning is not the primary thing is action. V'chein amur Razal, b'ksuvas daf pevav. The Gemara says in Ksuvas, Aval b'mitzvahs esse. He speaks there about the difference of mitzvahs loisasa and mitzvahs esse. So the Gemara says, Ksuvas pevav amar aleph, that mitzvahs loisasa, many of the mitzvahs loisasa, if a person violated them, and there were witnesses, and there was a warning, and all of the prerequisites in halacha, there could be lashes, malchus. Mitzvahs aseh, if somebody violates a positive commandment, there's no consequence of malchus, of lashes. That's the difference. Mitzvahs loisasa, when the Torah says not to do something, for example, don't eat chelev, don't eat a certain part of the animal, which is a lav. So here, don't eat horse meat, don't eat chazer. Person eats a kazayis. Again, you need a lot of things have to happen, but there could be an isser malchus. There could be lashes. A mitzvahs asa, Torah says, put on tefillin or eat matzah on Pesach, take a lulav on Sukkot. Person doesn't do it. It's an aveda. It's called bittul mitzvahs asa. But they didn't do something active. They were just passive. They didn't do the mitzvahs asa. There's no consequence of lashes. So the Gemara qualifies that. This is all afterwards. But before, aval mitzvahs asa, you can go in shayimrim loy. Asay sukkah ve'ena yoisa. Before a Jew comes and says, I'm not doing the mitzvah, I'm not going to eat in the sukkah, so Bezdin has a responsibility to compel him to do it. Strike him until he makes sure he does the mitzvah. In other words, that they'll do everything that he should do the mitzvah. Even though the Gemara says in Masechta Shabbos, Shemi she'toirasa yumnasa. The Gemara says in Shabbos, the first perek, Daf Yud Aleph, somebody that his Torah is his craft, that's his trade. Umnasa means his trade, his profession. Misha toirasa yumnasa. His Torah is his trade, meaning that's his entire occupation. Kegoin Reb Shimon ben Yochai v'chaveirov. The example is Reb Shimon ben Yochai and his colleagues. So the Gemara says, Ein mafsikin l'tfilah. They wouldn't stop their learning for davening. Davening is a mitzvah. And they would not stop their learning, which is contrary to the theme that he's saying here, that we see many Mamare Chazal with a mitzvah sagreir. Ubi Yerushalmi paid the Kama de Shabbos. And in Yerushalmi, in that place, in the first Perek of Shabbos, Amru, Shafilu l'krishma ein mafsikin. Not only for tefillah, which you could say, tefillah, shachris, is a derabanan, you could say, right? Shachris, mincha, ma'ariv, but even Kriyas Shema, reading the Shema, which is a biblical commandment, they also wouldn't stop. No. So that means a Jew who's learning Torah doesn't stop for mitzvahs. If Torah is his profession, meaning he doesn't stop for anything else either. This is his whole thing. He says, so the Baal Tanya says, Hainu dafka l'krishma. You have to know the Gemara there, what it means. Yerushalmi means only Krishma they didn't stop for. Or only Tefillah they didn't stop for. Aval mitzvahs esse k'may l'sukkah or lulav. Did Rashbi go to eat in a sukkah? We're not talking when he was in the cave. In the cave he didn't eat in a sukkah like we learned in Likud Torah Shmini. But did he go shake a lulav? Or say, no, I'm learning. I'm not going to do Kriya Shema. Why should I do lulav? And Rashbi lived after the Churban. After the Churban lulav, the first day is Menat Torah. The other 6 days is only Medivrei Seifrim. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai is Takana. But whether the first day or the other days, he stopped for Sukkah and lulav and other mitzvahs, or his Shofar and Rosh Hashanah. He's just giving an example. Mechuyev lahafsik, k'mevuy b'Yerushalmi sham. As it's clear from Yerushalmi Shabbos, huva b'Baal HaMoed Perek Kama de Shabbos. Explained and brought in the Baal HaMoed in the first Perek of Shabbos in Bavli, in Masechta Shabbos. What's the expression of Yerushalmi? Quote, V'loi moide Rashbi shemafsikin lasa sukkah. Yerushalmi says, you think Rashbi wouldn't admit that you have to stop your learning to build a sukkah for sukkahs? And the Yerushalmi explains, yes, he would agree. So why not Kriyas Shema and Tefillah? Zok the Yerushalmi, Taimei de Rashbi, the reason of Rashbi is Zeshinun v'Zeshinun, ein mevatlin shinun mipnei shinun. Torah is learning. Kriyas Shema is also learning. You're not mevatel one learning for another learning. But a mitzvah that's a completely different realm, like Sukkah or Lulav, over there, even Rashbi, Torah Sayam Nasai, you have to stop. It's not a mitzvah that you could do. The Gemara famously says in Mayit Katan that a mitzvah she'ef shalas asayde achedim. If you could do a mitzvah through somebody else, you could send a shliach. Then don't stop Torah. But sukkah, if I want to eat, I can't make you a shliach to eat for me in the sukkah. Just like I have to eat myself, you can't make a shliach to eat. You have to eat yourself. I can't make a shliach to hear shofar for me, or to hear Megillah for me, right? Or to eat matzah for me. I can make a shliach to separate truma, to give tzedakah. That I could do. I could say, go to the field and separate my truma. That you can make a shliach for. You can make a shliach for kiddushin. You can make a shliach for gittin. You can make a shliach for different mitzvahs. But there's something called mitzvahs shebegufa, mitzvahs you have to do on your own. I'll make a shliach. You put on tefillin for me. You eat matzah for me. You hear the Megillah for me. You pay somebody. It's like you say kaddish. So do everything else for me. So this is a mitzvah that you have to do yourself. So Kriyas Shema and Tefillah you also have to do. I can't make you a shlich to say Kriyas Shema for me. I have to say Kriyas Shema. But Zeh Shinun v'Zeh Shinun. These are, so to speak, the spiritual mitzvahs of learning. So here, he did it through Torah, Zeh Shinun. But other mitzvahs, Yerushalmi says, even Rashbi, Torah Sayam Nasi was mafsek.
What's the difference between Shinun and Shinun?
It's different words. V'shinantam levanecha. Shinun is like v'shinantam. Learning, teaching, yeah. Learning. Yeah. The word shinu is a change. This is shinun vav nun. Shanun means sharp. That's what you mean. Shana, yeah, karav shana, learning, huh?
Year, shana.
Shana is that's another word, year.
But change is not related to year.
Well, there's two interpretations why shana is called shana. One is that a year encompasses all the changes of the seasons. And another idea is shana from the word mishnah, which is repetition, like sheni, second. Which is similar, that every year, so to speak, a repetition of the previous.
There's also the element in Torah, as a side note, the element of Torah that it's a mitzvah, so it also has a
That's true, yeah. Yeah. Torah is also a mitzvah, that's true. If you're learning about sukkah, you're learning about it, but it's not the mitzvah. The mitzvah is a very physical mitzvah. You got to build a sukkah and eat in it.
Building the sukkah is part of it. The mitzvah is to sit. You get to the dairy.
So it's an interesting question. The Yerushalmi holds that building the sukkah is part of the mitzvah and you have to make a bracha for it. La halacha, we don't do that. La halacha, when we make a shechiyanu, leishav basukah, it includes the building of the sukkah. But the question is building the sukkah only a hechsher mitzvah, a preparation? So that's la halacha how we do it. But it happens to be that the Yerushalmi holds that you make a bracha to build the sukkah.
Even if it's a mitzvah, you could probably still make a shliach. It's probably not.
To build a sukkah, yeah. To build a sukkah, you can make a shliach, yeah. But to eat in the sukkah, you can't make a shliach. I'll say, I'll eat in the house, you'll eat for me in the sukkah. Because the mitzvah is to eat in the sukkah. I mean, unless you're not eating for 7 days. But it's not just eating in the sukkah. But sukkah is teshva. The sukkah has to be your home. It's not just eating. It's learning, whatever. Huh?
Rabbi mentioned before that when someone doesn't do a low sasa, there can be lashes.
Afterwards.
Under a lot of conditions. And if someone doesn't go to the sukkah, which is a aseh, then they smack them up.
Before. In order to, you should do it. Makanaisa.
You can explain that a little bit.
So if someone was...
It's not for the shir, yeah?
So if someone was very, very resistant to go in the sukkah, and people were pushing him and hitting him to go in, Could that hitting be worse than the lashes? Even worse than the lashes?
Ad shetetzei nafshe. Ad shetetzei nafshe. Very beautiful. Beautiful. He's saying Ad shetetzei nafshe literally means till his soul leaves, meaning you force him to do it. But he's saying tetzei nafshe could mean, the Rambam says, that if somebody doesn't want to give a get, and halachically he has to, so makinoisai, right? Koifinoisai actually you force him until he says I want to. Rambam Hilchas Gerish in Perek Beis Halacha Chaf. You force him till he says I want to, because you have to give a get willingly. You can't chain him up, right, and have him give a get. He has to say I want to. So makinoisai, you hit him, you koifinoisai, you compel him. Asks the Rambam, but it's a joke. He doesn't want. The only reason he wants is because you're compelling him, you're forcing him, you're beating him, whatever you're doing. The moment you stop, say I don't want him. So it's not really, it's fake. The whole point is it has to be beratzen. It's fake. So the Rambam answers, these are the words of the Rambam. Since he's a Jew, that's what the Rambam says, since he's a Jew, roitzehu lasas kol ha-mitzvahs. He wants to do all the mitzvahs. Ulisrachik min ha-averos. Those are his words. He wants to stay away from all the averos. Ela yitzroi hu shetakvoi. He just has a Yetzirah who overpowered him. So he says, I don't want, but really he wants to. He says, and when you koifenize it, when you compel him, it's true, when he says Reitzan, even though he tells you he doesn't want, later he's going to say, I didn't really want. But the truth is that the words Reitzan are an expression of his true desire. So he says, when they compel him, so it creates a weakness in the Yetzer. And when he says, I want, it's his true expression. And that's why it's called Ratzon. That's what the Rambam paskins. So Reb Shlomo is saying, Acha Teitze Nafshe means until his soul comes out. Until his true soul comes out. Das ist a schöne chassidische Teitsch.
Why don't you say that the difference between not giving the woman a get which and going shofar, or person is saying that's
No, I'm just explaining the background of his words.
but
Yeah.
but
It's a real Hasidic touch, but a real chassid would never get into that situation.
A real Litvak would also not get into such a situation. A Yirei Shemayim doesn't get into such a situation. V'chol hanal. What's the point here? What does all this show? Even though on the way it comes down here into this world, mitzvahs are considered, so to speak, lower than Torah. The connection through Torah is higher, deeper. Shehema b'chinas levushim. And we can understand it from the metaphor. As we explained, food, in so many ways, is much more serious than garments, because garments don't become you. Garments remain above you. They surround you. They encircle you. The food is converted into your very substance, what we call chiyus pnimi. And that's the gewaldige uniqueness of Torah. A mitzvah a person does. Torah a person digests. Torah becomes ingested, digested. When a person truly understands Torah, Torah becomes their very mind, their very substance of being. That's true the way it comes down here. But now we have all these Maimorei Chazal that indicated the opposite point. So he says both are true. Because it's levushim, mitzvahs are levushim. But like we said before, mekoidem v'sharshim l'maylo yoseh gavoya. When you look at the shorish, at the root, at the source, the garments are higher than the food.
Isn't the pashtus though that all the stuff we've been quoting, Midrashik Lamaisa, Tam Tam Maisa, that down here mitzvahs are greater, not just the Bisharshim, the mitzvahs are greater? Isn't that how I would have interpreted? He's saying that
No.
the Misharsham is greater of the
No, it's not a stira. Of course, down here you have to do the mitzvahs. It doesn't mean up there you have to do the mitzvahs. He's saying down here itself, there's two aspects to the mitzvahs. On one level, you'll say mitzvahs are lower than Torah, but down here you'll also say mitzvahs are higher than Torah, because if you're looking at the shayrish, it's higher. You understand?
Even though down here.
Yeah, there's two aspects to it. Yeah, just like we spoke about clothes, that they're more expensive down here. They're not only more expensive up there. The house is more expensive down here. The clothes last more down here, because there's two aspects. On one hand, mazon obviously has something to it. A person without mazon won't be able to live at all, like we explained. But in the shayrish, levushim are higher.
And when the Chazal say gadol, they're talking about the shorish.
Right. Shehem abchinas levushim. It's levushim, but mekoydim v'sharshim l'mayla hu yoyse gavoya. Shah Torah shebchinas mazon. Torah, which is called the food. Sharsha, it's rooted b'bchinas pnimius yutzvidas datzilus. It's rooted in the internal, the core of the 10 sfiras, the 10 divine characteristics of Hashem, of Atzilus. As the Zohar says, Oiraisa mechachma nafkas. It's an expression on the Zohar. Torah emerges, it comes out from Chachma, and Chachma is the first of the 10 spheres of Atzilus. Torah is, so to speak, a manifestation of divine wisdom. It's Chachmasa Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's Hashem's wisdom. But it's Chachma. V'lachein, and that's the reason that Limud HaTorah ein lo shir. That learning of Torah doesn't have a shir. What do we mean it doesn't have a shir? So he says, Kigam beperik echad shachris, uperik echad arvis, yotzi yedei choyvus talmud Torah, v'gam v'hagisa boy yoyman v'layla. The Gemara tells us in Masechta Menachos, Daf Tzadik Tes, that there are people that they fulfill the mitzvah of Torah through perik echad shachris, one chapter in the morning and one chapter in the evening. Sometimes the person doesn't have the ability to do more, or can do more for whatever reason. The Gemara discusses there. And it says, even Kriya Shema. He says a chapter of Kriya Shema in the morning. Kriya Shema is Torah. It's Parshas Veschanan, Parshas Eikev. And a chapter in the evening, he fulfilled the mitzvah of Talmud Torah. On the other hand, another person, the Pasuk says, V'hagisa boy, you should toil in it, you should learn it, Yoim and V'layla, day and night. The Gemara tells there a story. Tameh ben Shina was it? He asked Rabbi Shmuel. He says, I already learned the whole Torah. Right? I learned the whole Torah. Can I learn Chachma Yavanis? Can I go learn Greek philosophy? So his uncle told him, of course, Tzei, u'mitzei zman she'enei min hayoim ve'enei min halayla. Find a time that's not day and not night, and then you should learn it. Because it says, V'agisa b'yoim v'layla. So that's what he told him. No problem, but just find a day that's not there. What do you see from every mitzvah? It has a shir. I ate a kazayas matzah. I fulfilled the mitzvah. You want to do a kazayas shir chazaynish, do a kazayas shir chazaynish. But you fulfilled the mitzvah. Nobody's going to say, I have to eat another 20 matzahs, 30 matzahs. I mean, you can eat more matzah, gesund to hate. But there's a shir. You lit Chanukah candles, you did the shir. A Jew put on tefillin. Every mitzvah, you said Kriya Shema, you did the mitzvah, you heard shofar. You can hear shofar 20 times. You heard the Megillah. Every mitzvah, it has a measurement. You could say Atkan Hakofa Aleph, Atkan Hakofa Beis. Every mitzvah is like that.
Except for Levincha.
Huh?
Except for Levincha.
Even Vigada to Levincha. You could elaborate, you should elaborate, but if a person does the basics, yeah, he tells the story, he explains Pesach, Matzah, Mar, tells the story, it's good. Yeah. It has a shear. Of course, you could be mahadir, you can add, could sit in tefillin a whole day. They used to sit in tefillin a whole day. The same is true with many mitzvahs. A mitzvah has a shear. Sviras ha'omer. Yeah. You count the omer, you did the mitzvah. You want to count it again by day in case you didn't know, you didn't think, you made a mistake. Fine. You're not going to make a second bracha. Why? It's going to be a bracha levatala. I shook lulav. I can't make a second bracha on the tillis lulav because I want to shake a second time. Tomorrow you'll shake a second time. I can't shake it on a second time. The exception to this is Torah. Torah, what's the shear? You say, I already learned 4 hours. No, so learn a 5th hour. I learned 10 hours. No, learn 11 hours. I learned 23 hours. So learn 24 hours. I learned 24 hours. Okay, now is a new day. On the other hand, some people can't learn 20. Nobody could learn 24 hours. I mean, they have to eat and sleep. But the point is, one person is Yoitze Perek Echad Shachas Perek Echad Arvis Mitzvahs Talmud Torah. The mitzvahs on every Jew, and that could be 5 minutes. And the other one, you say, if he can, is Vagisa B'Yom V'Layla, by day and by night. What's the Havana of this?
There are a couple things. We see how pay about the Kura, around Gulas Chasadim, the Talmud Torah, a bunch of things. Good morning.
Ha'isa Kol Sodeyu Peya, Ein a Peya.
Yeah, but Eilu Dvarim She'en Rosh in the morning.
Ein lem shir lamata, but yesh lem shir lamayla.
But it includes Talmud Torah. Well,
In other words, yeah, but you have to you understand. Ein lem shir lamata. Pay a little corner you yoitza. Huh? Okay, but also if somebody, it's like it's stuck. If somebody comes needs a gemilas chesed, but you need certain mechanisms.
you also need a safe. I mean, so you need Torah. If you don't have Torah, then you don't.
No. If nobody needs a gemilas chesed, I mean, it's not. I know people need. The mitzvah depends. If there's a poor person or a rich person needs a gemilas chesed. Torah is be'etzem ein l'shir. Says, what's the Havana in this? V'hainu shehu b'chinas mazon. Because this is all a reflection of it being mazon. Shadai lo b'pas charev. We said when it comes to food, one person can eat dry bread their whole life and survive. V'gam yachal lechel minei matamim. Another person can eat delicacies. Mazon is so diverse from one extreme to another extreme, and all are considered food. What's this diversity from? In other words, there's endless experiences of it. The source of mazon, physical and spiritual, is what we call mamale kalalman. And mamale kalalman by definition is defined by endless diversity. Because every creature needs its own mazon, its own type of mazon, its own type of nutrition. And that's Torah is also, its diversity is endless. And each person experiences it, learns it in his way, in his time, according to his capacity, understands what he understands, and so forth. And one person says, I'm just going to have dry bread. The other person, no, I want the whole gamut of food. And the same is true with Torah. This person is Yoitze Perek Echad Shachas Perek Echad Arvis. That's a marshal of bread and salt. You know, the basics, the basics. I wanted to say meat and potato, but it's not meat and potato, it's dry bread. Another person says, no, I want the matamim. I want the whole richness. I want the full smorgasbord. I want to taste everything. I want the full delicacy. And it's not like the first person didn't have food. The first person had food. Because mamali kalalman lends itself to endless diversity of experiences. That is mamali. Mamali is the way the energy is manifested and enclosed in the individual. Aval ha-mitzvahs. When it comes to the mitzvahs, you don't say that there's different shiurim. I have to eat a kazayas matzah, you eat a half a kazayas matzah. You have to eat 20 kazayasim of matzah. Generally, you don't say that. Mitzvah say mebchinas makif ha'elya. Mitzvahs represents the divine makif. Bchinas keser echad. It's the crown, which is one, unifying. Sholamayla me'achachma datzilas. In the Shayrish, it transcends chachma. V'lachei nasim levushim l'neshama. And that's why the way they express themselves is they become garments for the soul. Commotion is bar levushim, as we explained before, by levushim. And that's the difference. On one level, Torah infuses you. It becomes you. Torah represents the divine energy of Mamalik Kalalman that fills the world in an oifen of Pnimius, Chiyus Pnimi. Mitzvahs represent what's called Soivav Kalalman, the Eir of Makif, which transcends the individual parameters. That's why a mitzvah, you do a mitzvah, but the mitzvah doesn't become you. I put on tefillin, so the tefillin encompasses me. I put on a talis, literally, so the talis encompasses me. Whatever mitzvah I'm doing, the mitzvah affects me, the mitzvah hovers over me. I am, so to speak, enclosed in the mitzvah. But you can't say the mitzvah becomes Mitzvah becomes me. Torah, a person understands Torah. The Torah becomes that person. Their mindset, their character, their personality is molded by Torah. And every person's experience, therefore, is different. Like Mamalik Halalman, where mitzvahs are called the garments of the soul, and that's why it's generally one keser echad. It's mashava, mashvakatam v'gadol. Moshe and a simple Jew, when they learn Torah, it's a different experience. But eating the matzah, it's exactly the same mitzvah. Shaking the lulav, exactly the same mitzvah.
This is the keser, which is Rosh Limnet.
Yeah.
We haven't spoken about the Taptona.
No, that's the lower level of keser. V'hinei kamoy shebekeser elyon. Just like in keser. Hamamutza be matzil and etzal, which is the bridge, the intermediary between the matzil, the infinite divine source, which is undefined, to the ne'etzalim. Ne'etzalim are the spheroids of Atzilus, the world of Atzilus, with their structure. Yesh by shnei b'chinas. The keser has two dimensions. Makif, the makif canal. There's makif, which we call arich, and there's makif even relative to makif, which is atik. Kacha mitzvahs, yesh beis minei mitzvahs. There are two types of mitzvahs in Yiddishkeit. Ha'alef, stam kol ha-mitzvahs. The ordinary category of all mitzvahs, sheimbir. Sheimbir tzoynoi shel adam la'asoisam, which a person wants to do and could want to do. Kamoi, sukkah, lulav, he's just using two examples, of kahai gavna, and similar any other mitzvahs. And here, I'm going to ask a riddle. I want you to think about it for a moment. There are 630 mitzvahs. Every single mitzvah, I want to do it, and then I do it. Like everything else in the world, you want to do something, you plan to do it. I want to put on tefillin, I want to put on tzitzis, I want to give tzedakah, I want to learn Torah, I want to daven. Excuse me, I want to give a gemilas chesed, I want to put a mezuzah on my door, I want to welcome Shabbos, I want to make kiddush, I want to do a bris, I want to do a pidyon haben, every mitzvah. Ratzon, will, precedes every action that a person does. There's one mitzvah from 630 mitzvahs, one mitzvah, that if you want to do it, you can't do it. The only way you could perform this mitzvah is if you don't want to do it. If you want to do it, you'll never be able to do it in your life. You know which one it is? Only one mitzvah. If you want to do it, you'll never be able to do it. Yeah, very good. Who said that? You? Say it good. Fascinating mitzvah. That's what he's going to introduce now. A loisa, you don't do. You choose not to do it. There's not non-kosher food. I don't eat. It's Shabbos. I don't violate the Shabbos. Yeah, I don't want to. I do it through not. It's not something you do. It's something you don't do. You abstain. But that's what the definition of a mitzvah's essay. Mitzvah's essay is activity. Activity always is preceded by consciousness, right? I don't do mitzvahs in my sleep. A mitzvah I do in my sleep is actually not a mitzvah. It's called misasik. If it's the night of Pesach and I fall asleep and there's matzah on my bed and I'm sleeping and I don't know, there's something called sleep eat. I know there's sleep walk. There's something called sleep eat. I'm sure some Jews have the concept. They certainly wake up to eat. That we know. But
could you consciously forget? Can you consciously forget?
You don't consciously forget. So, then maybe you're not Yotzetak. But even if you tuned out by davening, you went to shul, you opened a siddur, right? There's something, you're saying some words. At least you started. You put on tefillin. You wanted to do it. There's one mitzvah. Let's see. So he says, I sit in a sukkah. I walk into the sukkah. I take a lulav. V'yesh mitzvahs, but there's mitzvahs shem einam tluyim b'ritzoynei klal. These are mitzvahs that are completely not dependent on ratzon. Not only it's not dependent, fakert rak dafke shaloi b'daitoi. It can only happen if there's no das, meaning if I don't want to. Kemoi Mitzvahs shikha.
Okay, hi, Gavna.
Okay, hi, Gavna.
Hi, Gavna.
Okay, a good to Shaila. We'll wait for a moment for that. That doesn't say inside. What's mitzvahs shikha? Mitzvahs shikha means the mitzvah of forgetting. It's an interesting name for a mitzvah, right? It's like, sounds like there's a mitzvah to forget. There's no mitzvah to forget. It's the mitzvah of forgetting. It's in Parshas Kiseitze. It says, if you harvest your field, and the way they used to do it is, they still do it, you harvest your grain or whatever you're harvesting, your fruits, your vegetables, you make bundles, sheaves. They're called an oimer, amorim, ayin mem reish yud mem, or alumim by Yosef. You make sheaves, you make bundles, and you tie them up, and then you carry them. You carry them to the place where you're going to store them, to the silo, or where you're going to process them, whatever you do. So the halacha is, let's say I have a big farm, a big field, and we worked, I don't know, for a day or two, and we created 300 bundles, or 100 bundles, or 50 bundles. And I forget one or two of them. And one I forget. I push it, I go home. Me, my workers, whatever, I go home, and I forget about it. Tomorrow I come back, and I see that I forgot. So the halacha is, I have to leave it for the poor. That's the mitzvah of shikha. It's a very interesting mitzvah. There are many things we give to the poor. For example, payah. You leave the corner of the field. There's meiser ani. There's 10% that you give for poor people from fruits, from vegetables, from grain. There's something called leket, right? If you're harvesting and stalks fall. These are things that the Torah says, leave a little, it's like a tax. You have to give for the poor. But this mitzvah is a different type of mitzvah. Because if I decide, I tell my workers, forget about those bundles. Forget about those two bundles. Then it's not shikha anymore. You could give it to poor people, but that's already the mitzvah of tzedakah. It's not the mitzvah of shikha. The mitzvah of shikha is only if you forget. Meaning it's a mitzvah that can happen only if you're absent-minded. If you say, I want to do shikha today. Even shiluach hakan. Today there's a ganze maisa. People go do shiluach hakan. Ki yikare, pratla mezuman. If you're walking and it happens, but when you see the nest, you have a mitzvah. Here, if you want to do the mitzvah, I want to do shikha once in my life. Sorry. You have to be a shlamazel to be able to. Not a shlamazel, but absent-minded. You forgot. Now you forgot. Ooh, I forgot. You're on the way home. I forgot. You go back. No, now you can't take it. You have to give it for the poor. So it's a type of mitzvah that you can't observe it with rotzen. The mitzvah takes root when you're not conscious. If you're conscious of it, the mitzvah can't take root. There's no other mitzvah like that. He says, Kai Gavna. It's a good treasure. We'll see what it means. Huh?
The shikha part is only that in order for the circumstance to happen.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah. Once
other
you...
mitzvahs also,
No.
Other mitzvahs also, things that are outside of your circumstances that are outside of your control have to happen, and then you have to do the mitzvah. The shikha is...
Yeah, but all other... Of course. I have to have a house to put a mezuzah. But all other mitzvahs, Ratzon is the preparation for it.
Once the circumstance comes up,
Yeah, sometimes you need other people's help.
also, there has to be a circumstance.
If I want to daven with a minyan, I need 9 people. But I have a Ratzon, and I go and I call 9 people.
No, but there's other mitzvahs that you will never be able to willingly go and get unless other circumstances that are beyond you.
Yeah, you want to get married and do pruvu, you need the haskam of a woman. But you'll go and get it. You'll try at least. Hopefully you'll have atzlacha like you did.
You can still go out the field and look for a kansipar. That's not going to be prat lemzum, and you can still go if I walk.
Exactly. And people do it all the time. They pay money for it.
I can wake up in the morning and say, I want to do shikha today.
Gesundheit hate, but it's not happening.
I have that desire.
Gesundheit, but that has nothing to do with the mitzvah.
No, that's what I'm trying to say, but at that time,
If you're planning to have shikha, then it's never going to happen.
no, on a subconscious level, unconscious level.
Okay, subconscious
Today
veisach.
I want to do shikha. It happens to be that today I do it.
But the fact happened already. The fact happened already overnight. You just don't know about it.
You wake up in the morning and say,
You wake up in the morning, you can't decide if you want to do
I want to do egla arufa.
it happened overnight.
Yeah, go kill somebody. I mean, what are you? I'm just joking. Don't try that at home. Egla Rufa means if there's a slain victim, so there's a mitzvah to do Egla Rufa. Right, but the mitzvah is not to have a slain victim. That's not the mitzvah. If there's a slain victim, now Bezdin says, okay, now we got to do Egla Rufa.
So the forgetting is the same as if there's a slain victim, if that happened.
But somebody killed him, but there was somebody who did it consciously. Not you, somebody else. You understand?
I mean, suppose we bracket.
You're right, there were circumstances of somebody
Here's the
else.
circumstances of me forgetting.
You forgot, yeah.
But that's not with my Ratzon and
Mitzvah of get is like this. You really don't want to do it, but it's a mitzvah.
There's no mitzvah to give a get. If somebody's getting divorced, there's a mitzvah how to do it, but it's not a...
I think the difference may be like this. If by Egla Rufa, the real mitzvah is, there's no mitzvah to, like you say, to slay. The mitzvah is the Torah telling you what your response to a situation will be. This is how you have to respond when it's going to happen. But shikha is not just a response if you happen to forget. It's like a chila mitzvah. I hope there'll be a matzav that when you forget, you'll do it. In other words, it's not just the Torah telling you this is what your response should be. And I don't guess the Egla Rufa.
Yeah, when you forget, your response is not to go get it.
Response is to not go get
The
it.
same idea. When you forget, now I can't.
No, but the origin of the mitzvah here doesn't happen in consciousness. Egla Rufa, sadly, it does. Ein echanami. Because that's the mitzvah. The mitzvah is to respond to that victim, to that murder. You're right. The action I have to do b'rotzen. But that can't happen if I didn't forget. And the forgetting, I can't do consciously. Because if I'm forgetting consciously, I'm not forgetting. Which is what you have to explain to your wife when you forget the anniversary.
When the person does Averos, he wants to do it, but he can't do it because Torah says no, right? So in a way, we stand from all the love him in the same way. I want to do it, I want to eat that piece, but I can't.
Okay. So over there, you don't do it. But your Ratzon tells you that you want to do what Torah says.
No, I actually wanted to eat it.
So why aren't you? Because of conviction. You have some conviction. There's something. Okay, fine. It may be against your nature, against your mood, but there's a conscious choice. I'm making a choice. Here, I don't have a choice. I didn't make that choice. At least not consciously. This idea,
Does the shikha only apply to the bundles of grain or anything? Don't walk out to the grocery store, leave one bag in the car, now walk away.
No. It applies to agriculture.
So then if someone comes around and finds that bundle of kind of or shows the Veda, it seems the kind of mitzvah to get back to me.
He doesn't have a right. It's not his field. It's Geneva. How can he take somebody else's grain? You're not allowed to.
Doesn't it become Yamiyams when it's left there for him? That it becomes, in other words, the Baal can't go back and take it because that would be Gedel from the
Yeah, so now,
So when he forgets,
so if I'm a poor person, I can take it, but if not, I
it's
can't.
not his field, but it's
Yeah.
his payout.
Yeah.
He doesn't know if it's shikha. Or a person comes to somebody else's field, there's a bundle. Bundle he cannot take.
Well, he can ask.
Leket he can take, but not the bundle.
He can find out. If it's shikha, then he can take
So
it.
he can find out, but he cannot take it. Stop, if it doesn't work. That will be a guess.
He has to make a claim before he can take the shikha.
Yeah, unless they had a section where they put it. I mean,
Because don't you take on that most people don't leave bundles?
it could be you're saying if it's all empty, so then he can assume it's right. Probably, yeah. This we find clearly in a Tosefta in the 3rd chapter of Masechta Peah. Peah is one of the Masechtas of Mishnayos, of course, and it has Tosefta. Tosefta, just like there's Mishnah Peah, there's also the Brises, the Tosefta of Peah. It's printed always in the back. It was also authored by the Tanoim. It just didn't make it into the Mishnah. It's called Tosefta from the word Tosfos, the additions. So the third chapter of Peah, the Tosefta says as follows. Maisa b'chosid echod sheshachach oimer b'toich sadeyu. Fascinating story in Yerushalm, in Tosefta Peah. There was a chassid, a pious man, who forgot a sheaf of grain in his field. And then he discovered that he forgot it. V'amal ibnoi, he tells his son, Tseva hakriv alai, parla oila or parla shlama. This is during the time of the second Beis HaMikdash, apparently. He tells his son, wow, we're going to throw a major feast. I want you to get an ox and offer it as a carbon oil in the Beis HaMikdash, which is completely consumed on the altar. A second ox, offer as a contribution, a carbon nedava, a carbon shlamim. The fat is burnt on the altar, a little part is eaten by the kohanim, and the rest is eaten by the owner and the family and guests and whoever he wants to have. We're going to bring it to the Beis HaMikdash, make a carbon, and we're going to throw a huge su'udah with the holy meat of the carbon. This is, he sends his son to bring two offerings. Oh, Maloi, his son says to him, Abba, Father, Mara Isa l'smayach b'simchas mitzvah zu mikol mitzvah sheb'Torah. Why are you celebrating this mitzvah more than any other mitzvahs? Every morning when you put on tefillin, you should also send 2 korbanos to the Beis HaMikdash. You did a mitzvah. You gave tzedakah, shikha. Why suddenly are we doing a whole big celebration? Oh, Maloi, his father told him, Kol mitzvah sheb'Torah nosan lehem ha'mokim l'datenu. All the mitzvahs of the Torah Hashem gave us to observe with our das, with our mind, with our awareness. Hashem gave it l'datenu. He gave it over to our das. We decide we want to do the mitzvah. Zu shaloi l'datenu. This mitzvah he didn't give over to our das. He didn't submit it to our consciousness, to our perception, to our mindset. Here's the mitzvah, and now your das decides to do the mitzvah. He never gave it over to our das. Why? She'ilu asanihu b'rotzen lifnei hamakim lo'ba mitzvah zu liyadenu. If we wanted to do this mitzvah willingly, we could have never done the mitzvah. If we want to do the mitzvah with our das, we could have never done the mitzvah. Ela the pasuk says, "Ki siktzer v'gaimer." When you harvest a sheaf, when you harvest the grain in your field, v'shachachta oime basad, and you'll forget, then you can't come back to get it. Kavaloi hakos of bracha. This has a special blessing. Ad kan loshen ha-Tosefta. Quote of the Tosefta in Peah. The father here is telling his son something, but this itself needs explanation. Okay, so he didn't give it over to your das. So why is it such a simcha? Why is it such a celebration? Why is the joy so powerful, so profound? He didn't give it over to your das, no? Every mitzvah he gave over to my das, meaning I have the ability and the need to decide I want to do it, and that's what makes it happen. Here not. If I decide I want to do it, it can't happen. It happens despite me, not because of me. It says, the pshat is, she'im kein, kiyu mitzvah zu hibchines matana mulmayla. This mitzvah is a gift. It's a gift that you couldn't anticipate. L'chein ani makriv par. That's why I'm bringing a special carbon. That's what he's saying. All the mitzvahs, it's midatenu. We planned it. Here, I couldn't plan it. It was something given to me. V'hainu. What is the deeper meaning in this? This is the nekuda. Ha-mitzvah shem tluyim b'daiti ritzoynei shel adam. The mitzvahs that are dependent on your das, on your rotzen, shorsham lamayla gamkin bekeser. They're also rooted in the divine keser, the divine crown, the divine rotzen. Mepchines arich ampin, what we call arich ampin, shuhu pchines rotzen ha'alyin, which is the divine will, shu pchines shoirish ha'etzalim, which is the source of atzilus, as the Zohar says, the introduction to the Tikkun Zohar, Pasach Elio, antu da apikas asar tikkunim v'karina lo nasa sfiron. It's you who allows 10 spheros to emerge from you. You is your will, your desire. So how do these mitzvahs evolve down here? They're dependent on our will. They are God's will, and God's will now becomes my will. What do we say in Pirkei Avos? Aseh ritzayin chaker ritzayna. It's all about my will, just because it was His will. Uba'asois, when you do these mitzvahs, mamshich mebchinas ratzon elyon. You access that ratzon elyon, that divine will. That's what you do. V'zeu asher kiddishanu b'mitzvaysav. That's why before we do the mitzvah, we make a bracha. What do we say? He sanctified us, or He betrothed us. Kiddishanu also from the word kiddushin, b'mitzvaysav, through His mitzvah. What says kiddishanu? V'yachal la'asoisam b'simcha g'dayla. A person can do a mitzvah with tremendous joy, tremendous anticipation. That's what a bracha. I'm going to do a mitzvah. I'm going. There's a tremendous simcha. Why? Because at this moment he's going to access and bring down the divine will, which is going to be a makif. It's going to encompass him completely and going to transcend the individual parameters of his individual personality. This is ratzon that encompasses in what we call soiv of kalalman. So you can do it with a tremendous simcha, with a tremendous ratzon, with a passion. Yes, there are people who do it with monotony and with boredom and with the lack of excitement. Even they have some type of ratzon because they're doing it maybe robotically, like you brush your teeth in the morning, but you want to brush your teeth in the morning. Lahavdil.
Just like that, ratzon elyon, which is sovev, is also makif.
It's also makif.
Mimicking the makif.
He's, so to speak, He's, so to speak, replicating it, mimicking it. He does it with ratzon. He could do it with tremendous simcha, anticipation, preparation. It's not Torah. It's not something that's going to be digested in the parameters of the person. That's its uniqueness. It's even higher on that level. It's makif. It's the levush. But those mitzvahs that are daika means bediuk, they're precisely not with das. K'may mitzvahs shikha, hanisker like the mitzvah of shikha. Ooh, shorsha mebchina atachtoina shebematzil. The shoirish of this mitzvah is not from arich, it's from atik. It's not from chitzonius hakeser, it's from pnimius hakeser. It's not from rotzen. It comes from what's called B'china Tachtoina Sheba the matzil, the source, not the keser, which is the top of Atzilus. It comes from the matzil himself, Sholamayla min Aratzin, who is beyond will, beyond desire. V'nikra Makif dim Makif. Ve'efsher, it's possible that Zeh B'chinas Raiva the Chol Raivin. The Zohar speaks about Raiva the Chol Raivin. The Hainu Rotzen leRotzen. Raivin Aramaic is Rotzen, desire. He calls it Raiva the Chol Raivin, meaning the desire of all the desires. The Rotzen that is deeper than all the Ritzoinis. Rotzen that even Legabe Rotzen it's Rotzen. It's the Rotzen that transcends even Rotzen. So therefore, the way it comes down here also is the same way. If you're conscious, if you have a ratzon for it, you can't do this mitzvah. The only way you can access this aspect of divinity is beyond your own ratzon, beyond your conscious will. If there's a conscious will, I can't access it. Why? Because this mitzvah is rooted in a much deeper place, so to speak, within the divine, that's higher than ratzon. So the only way I can have it is shaloi midas. So when the father saw that he got this mitzvah, he said, this is a different celebration. This warrants a unique celebration.
So when there's a trader that's forgetting, for example, a person forgets that he leaves his house in a walled city, or he forgets to count skira, and the next night with a bracha, and the next night he counts it without a bracha, is that sourced? He said before that there was other examples. What are the other examples?
We'll soon see later. He's going to explain what he meant with other examples.
The same concept, right?
Adalayada, you see.
So you remove the last to get the rotzen.
Adalayada.
But he's doing it purposefully.
No, but when you start purposely, you finish completely not purposely.
But he's conscious about it. He wants to end up actually the other.
You're saying Purim chayiv inish l'psumim b'Purim adalayada. You want to end up there, but you start with conscious. So it's different than shikha. It's even different than shikha.
But today's mom is not shocked to this mitzvah.
Shikha?
No, yeah, shikha. Because even people who do this, it's all workers and it's all, they're not even there most of the time. They wouldn't even know if they forget.
Why?
There's actually people
If
who
I have a
are-
field, why not?
Because the people out there, they're usually there. They usually have people
They're
Mexicans
they're
doing it.
looking of the
They're not usually there.
Who, the owner?
Yeah.
But if
don't even
if
know.
he keeps if he makes them responsible and they forget, the mitzvah of shikha applies.
Who decides that we Yisrael Veloilu who has to do it how long? Meaning if it's stuck a mitzvah that it's like she not like Tzedukah has an amount and they have more money, you give more
Right.
learning, it's like
Right, that's the point. Tzedakah, it depends on a lot of things, right? Theoretically, like he asked, if there's no poor people, I mean, we know there are, but if there's no poor people, it's fine. Torah doesn't have to do with anything else.
who does say that somebody who can that he could get away just with the fighting after
Well, there's a section in Shulchan Aruch called Hilchos Talmud Torah, and over there it's discussed at length. In fact, the first sefer that the Alter Rebbe wrote was Hilchos Talmud Torah. His first sefer. It's printed in Shulchan Aruch Harav, but this he wrote before everything. He wrote Hilchos Talmud Torah. It's also in the Shulchan Aruch. It's both, and over there he discusses everything, all the details.
Says if a person
Ultimately, the person has to see himself. It's not.
says if a person has a hole in the pocket and drops a coin, and you see the poor person finds it.
It's Mekayim Tzedakah.
Is this a high level that if you consciously according to this,
That's like shikha, right?
is it the same idea or not?
Over there, you actually never find even out you did the mitzvah. the coin falls, a poor man picks it up, so it says you're Mekayim Tzedakah. Over there, it remains beyond das. You don't know what happened to it, right?
It's a higher level because it seems to come from a higher source.
Interesting. You're saying that in many ways is a higher level of tzedakah. Well, certainly it's matan b'seiser. The guy is very comfortable with it. Yeah. That's an interesting mashal you're giving. But certainly nobody's going to say that the only way to be Mekayim tzedakah is that way, right? Let's hope so. With shikha, the only way to do it is through forgetting.
You lost money on the street and someone picked it up. That's not a mitzvah.
No, it says that if you had a cell and it fell and Ani picks it up, well,
You get a mitzvah from the fact that it only happens because
you mean because he lost it?
You found
But the mitzvah is on me. The mitzvah is on me. I find something, I see it.
right away there. Finding something means I didn't have any tax.
Oh, you mean I was walking in the street? I was walking in the street.
I think the mitzvah is also to forget. You don't just give it once you forget. No, the mitzvah is because if not, Torah could say just give it for the or malak one home.
The challenge is, I forgot now, the challenge is, a person wants to go back.
That's the mitzvah. You could forget. You could give it for.
You're saying Hashavas Aveda is also an union of Mitzi. It happens. But it's not Hepech Hadas. Hashavas Aveda is not Shaloi Midas. I walk out of my house and I say, today I'm going to walk. I would like to do Hashavas Aveda. I may be able to, I may not be able to. Right? But if I find something, great. It doesn't require the absence of das. Fakert, if I'm mindful, I'll find. Shikha requires the absence of das.
Find something, you can still say the Shamiyichet before you pick it up. Shikha, there's no way you can say the Shamiyichet.
You said Shemichet before you go back.
No.
Instead of going back,
The
I'm not going back.
mitzvah is done already.
Once you remember that you forgot it, you have to make a conscious decision. I'm not going back.
It's the middle of the mitzvah. You're saying the Shamiyichet. The mitzvah starts when you forget.
The mitzvah started not after you forgot. The mitzvah started when you forgot.
That's when the mitzvah starts. It's when the machshir mitzvah starts, not the mitzvah. The guy never remembers that he forgot it, and someone picked it up. Is he yoitz with the shikha?
If a poor person takes it, you say. You mean, it's an interesting shaila. So you're saying the shikha is not the mitzvah, the shikha is the machshir of the mitzvah. Okay, in the chanami.
It's also, we say that learning is not the ikar, the maaseh is the ikar. So even if it was a mitzvah, which is a maki, but we have a taste of the mitzvah. After that, that's what really becomes our
In the
inside,
chanami.
the maaseh. So the mitzvah is not necessarily it actually goes inside. It becomes part. You have a taste from it.
Which
Because
mitzvah?
no, any mitzvah, because every other mitzvah, if you just learn about it, it's theoretical. It's not become part of you. Once you do it, then it becomes
Right, but part of you here is a different type. When we say part of you, it's not like mazon, it's a levush.
But it's really because like a Muslim, no? It's because like you internalize what you learn. If you just learn, you didn't internalize.
You practice what you learn. That's what you mean.
What brings you there?
Is matzah the only mitzvah that actually becomes Muslim?
Well, achilas kachim,
Is that
eating karbonas, carbon pesach, huh?
Is that the same kind of learning, or that's not?
Well, it's over there, it's the physical aspect. In the chanami, you're saying you have mitzvahs that are also food, but it's physical food. So obviously those mitzvahs are more connected to the.
How does it work? You said the Torah, the Shosh and the mitzvahs are greater, right? But it says that Hashem looked at the Torah. What does it mean you looked at the Torah? If the Torah is really describing the mitzvahs, the whole story, how we got to the mitzvahs, it's really so the mitzvahs were there, the mitzvahs weren't there. What was that?
It means
Sounds
that.
like it's one thing.
Yeah, no, on one level, in this inyan, it's one. Torah and mitzvahs are the blueprint of the world. He looked in the Torah and he built the world according to Torah, according to the wisdom of Torah. But much of the wisdom of Torah is explanation of the mitzvahs. So you're right, he looked in the Torah and the mitzvahs. Much of Torah is mitzvahs.
It's the same thing. It's just a matter of the action and the
Yeah, in life, there's the aspect of learning, there's the aspect of doing. Yeah, you're right. In many ways, it's one, yeah.
Of course, the Shosh is greater than the mitzvah because that's really
That's what he's saying. The whole Torah is an explanation of the mitzvah. Yeah.
So I couldn't get this distinction between numerical and
Thank you.
But what really becomes when it becomes really part of you, like a Muslim, is it doing it or learning it? And I know that according to some people, like it's learning for sure. But according to my taste, it's not. Because whenever you learn it, it's not what you don't practice.